That 4-month-old video led to an outpouring of sympathy from friends and some celebrities, including Lady Gaga and Ricky Martin, who tweeted their support for the young man. I don't know if you noticed it last weekend. It was really going across Twitterdom. Now, here with me to talk about this is clinical psychologist Dr. Ramani Durvasula, pediatrician Dr. Harvey Karp, and Tina Meyer. She is the mother of a 13-year-old, Megan Meyer, who sadly took her own life after having been bullied online. Now, before we get to the panel, I want to show you one more clip recently posted by Jonah thanking his supporters. Watch this. This is subsequent to the one we just saw.
To the people who think that nobody likes me, almost my entire school loves me. I don't want to sound like stupid or conceited or anything, but yeah. PSS. Thank you, everyone who's being nice. I don't know why I said PSS because I only didn't. Just never mind. Thank you for everyone who's being nice, and to the people who are being mean and calling me gay, thank you for stating the obvious. You could really be the next Einstein.
So there's controversy surrounding the video, and that Jonah doesn't seem very sincere in this one we just saw, and people are suggesting that the first one was a fraud to get attention. I personally don't. I mean, I think, you know, this is typical adolescent behavior. Let's face it. A kid can be in despair one minute and bounce back and seem cavalier in the next. Right. Are we seeing more bullying these days, and is social media to be responsible for it?
Well, we're more connected. That's a good thing. But sure, then you're going to be a target for more, you know, extraneous. And of course, it's so anonymous. It allows you to say things that you wouldn't say face to face.
And are you seeing more of it in clinical practice, or parents coming in complaining, or kids coming in talking to a pediatrician about this?
I think that this is on the upswing. Yeah.
Is it, Dr. Durvasula? I want to go to you. Is this something that has always been around? I mean, when I think back to being 11 or 12, and I have triplets, and they went through that. Something nasty happens to young adolescents around the age of 11 and 12 where they become aggressive, they don't have yet the capacity for empathy, and there's a lot of things that look like bullying that may be kind of normative. Is that just a phase that we have to deal with better?
Well, I think children at that age are sort of starting to grow into their personalities. Keep in mind, around the ages of 11 to 12, the focus shifts very much to peers, approval from peers. And peers really become sort of the barometer of approval, much more so than parents. And kids are looking to get attention in that sphere any way they can, and particularly approval in that sphere. So I think that's where bullying really becomes a higher risk behavior as they get a little bit older and sort of break away from the adults and focus on their own.
Let me ask Dr. Karp and Dr. Durvasula, do you remember being maybe not overtly bullied, but feeling bad because of some of the things your peers did to you in middle school?
I mean,
everybody,
I got
right?
left out. I was skinny. I wore glasses.
But, but you were too smart. But it was not. But it's not just kids that are bullies per se that engage in that. Is that right? Don't we all? Every one of us thought of a story.
Well, you have to. You have to when you're a teenager. What you're doing is you're defining your group, and once you define your group, everybody else is the outside, parents and everybody.
Dr. Durvasula, you want to comment on that?
Yes. Oh yeah. I mean, I sometimes argue that I think I got my PhD because I hid in the books to get away from the bullies. I think we all experienced it in our fashion, and all for a variety of reasons. And it hurts, and it stays with us. And I think a lot of us continue to try to exert our revenge fantasies well into adulthood. But I do think there's something universal, as Dr. Karp said, you know, about really, you know, trying to sort of find a space for ourselves. And that process of individuation, of becoming ourselves, it hurts a little bit. And I think that's what's so hard. And that's what's so powerful about him, because what he was doing, it's almost like how kids who are bullied don't feel heard. The fact that he was putting that message out on pieces of paper and not saying it was an interesting metaphor for what the bullied kid experiences.
And I want to sort of transition for what may be, I don't want to call it normative, but something we all experience, to real genuine bullying, which is something that I think we're seeing way too much of. And I personally believe it's an expression of, if anything, the decay of our families and some of the parenting styles. It starts very early, does it not?
Well, we learned very early how to deal with feelings of unhappiness, to share those feelings. We naturally want to share the feelings. The trouble is so often as parents, and it's hard, I mean, parenting is tough, but so often we're so fast to try to solve the problem than rather listening, just being with our kids and encouraging them to speak about it rather than trying to take care of it among the other 50 things we're doing.
Right. They don't need rescuing so much as just a stable base, a secure base to operate from. Now, Tina, I'm going to go to you now. Your daughter, Megan, was a victim of bullying, and it led to severe despair, and ultimately it cost her life. How do you think Megan would have responded to Jonah's video had she seen it?
Megan had huge compassion. So Megan would have been one of those that could understand, she could empathize with how he felt. And I think Megan certainly would have responded to him. And I think that is what, technology is amazing in one way and it's really a detriment in the other. And one way, we're hearing about these situations happening, but it's allowing children to be able to reach out instead of that small group that maybe is bullying them, but now reach out to a larger crowd that maybe will start understanding and empathizing with them. So I think Megan certainly would have been one of those to empathize with them.
And for Tina, for Megan, was the bullying something that largely went on online, or was it something in the flesh as well?
Oh, Megan was both. Megan suffered bullying from 3rd grade through 7th grade. 7th grade was the roughest year for her. I mean, she had boys stomping behind her in the lunch line, calling her a fat cow and an elephant, to the point that Megan stopped eating lunch. But again, she didn't come home and tell me about that stuff because it's embarrassing to kids when these things are happening. And they are afraid that parents are going to either run in and scream and yell at the school, or we're going to try to take control over the situation and make it worse. And so when I do talk to parents and children who are going through this situation, like Dr. Karp had said, it is honestly listening to them, hearing it, not always fixing the situation, but being that sounding board and hearing what they're truly saying.
Now, Dr. DeVossola, Tina gave us a very nice little takeaway for parents. I'm going to give you a chance to give some takeaways as well, and then Dr. Karp. Dr. DeVossola, you first.
One thing I want to do is I really want us to not minimize the impact of cyberbullying. Recent research has shown that the traumatic impact of cyberbullying actually surpasses that in which when kids are being sort of bullied person to person, which is really surprising because we think cyberbullying is being done once removed, but it's relentless. So it's really important that parents monitor their children's phones, Facebook, and social media. That's just as important as social space as going to school, and it can be just as treacherous.
Yeah, so I've always told parents the internet is not just an enemy, it's a friend where you can gather information, but you've got to be diligent, you've got to be on it, you've got to know how to operate on it. But Dr. Karp, as a physician, what do you want parents to do when they bring their kids and interact with the medical system? How can they best utilize the resource of the doctor?
Well, of course, bring it up to the doctor if you know about it. But one of the curious things about bullying is that a lot of times parents don't even know what's going on, as Tina said.
I think that's what we're all saying, yeah.
Right, so anticipate it. Don't wait for your child to bring it up.
Can we as a medical profession anticipate it in some way? Can we mine it? Yeah.
Yeah, of course. So, I mean, I started when kids are 2 and 3 and 4 years of age, telling stories about, the little bunny rabbit and everybody didn't like him, but he found the one friend. Don't try to do it directly and say, when kids do this to you, I mean, you can do that also. When kids do this to you, this is what you can say. Load them up with the dialogue, but do it through the side door, through little stories and through doll play. A lot of times that allows a young child to absorb the information that they can. But
Tina, last word to you before we go to break.
Again, I do think it's the parents getting involved. I think in today's world we are so busy and we're trying to do many different things, but sometimes taking that time to talk to your child, monitoring any electronic communications. We're coming up on the holidays and many children are going to be getting these cell phones and laptops and different things that they're going to be getting. Please make sure, parents, that you understand what that technology is, how it can be used, so that you can best protect